everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing like a mid-year check-in, a mid-year wrap-up, mid-year book tag kind of thing. We're going to use questions to make it like, you know, focus, not me just rambling about the books I've read. I took the questions from Sarah Caroli's video. I think there's like a few different slight variations of this video, but they're all similar vibes. We're just going to get straight into it, and I am going to apologise in advance. I'm not going to be holding the books up. I mentioned in my last video I'm having my house photographed this week because we're moving house, so I really don't have it in me to make any more mess that is already in this house by getting all the books off my shelves and having to put them back on. I've already got like 29,000 things to sort out in the house, so I'm just going to talk about the books without holding them up. I prefer holding them up, so I do apologise, but emotionally don't have it in me to make and tidy up another mess. So first prompt or question, best book so far this year, and I have two. So Into the Dark by Jessa Hastings, 5-star read, obsessed with that book. It's in the Magnolia Park series. If you've not heard of Magnolia Parks, it's a crossover series between, there's like the Magnolia Parks books and the Daisy Hates books, and it follows this group of characters, all very rich, all very toxic, very drama filled, tropes that I would usually hate in a book but just work in the Magnolia Park series for some reason, and I'm obsessed with it. But Into the Dark was the first 5-star in the series for me. I really loved the other ones, but I think I just read it at the right time. I'm not going to say what the theme of the book is because I feel like it is a spoiler, even if I don't say like which characters it pertains to. But I think I read a book with that trope at the right time. I very much related to what Magnolia was going through and the emotions that she had. So yeah, it really kind of got to me emotionally and I read it at the right time. And then the other one is just like a full series, the Boys of Tommen series. I've been putting it off for so long and I don't know why, because I loved it. I'm not going to talk about it now too much because I am going to mention some specific books from the series later in this tag. But the Boys of Tommen series is a YA, like, it is a sports romance, but I wouldn't categorise it as that. It's very different to the other sports romances I've read. It's a lot deeper, a lot of trigger warnings that get more triggering kind of as the books go on, especially into Joey and Aoife's books. But even in Shannon's, some horrific stuff happens, especially in the second one of Shannon's book, Keeping 13. But just amazing, just so well done. I love that series. The next question, how many books have I read this year? As of today when I'm filming this, I've read 71 books. That includes like physical, ebook, audio, everything. So yeah, 71 so far, which is way ahead of where I thought I'd be at this point. But do bear in mind, I am working full-time now, but I had 3 months off work at the beginning of the year. So bear that in mind when you think of my number. It's because I was doing nothing but reading for like 3 months. Next one, the best sequel so far this year, Redeeming Six by Chloe Walsh, which is the 4th book in the Boys of Tommen series. I'm not going to talk about it throughout the whole video, but yeah, just again, the themes of that book, what Joey went through, what nearly happened with Joey, just gets me every time. And I love Joey and Aoife so much. I really feel for Joey, and yeah, that book is just incredible. Loved it. Very dark book, but personally I think it was done well. I've not been through everything in that book, so absolutely listen to like other people's opinions, but the themes in there that I do relate to, I personally think from my experiences were done very well. The next one, a new release you haven't read yet but want to. I've got 3 for this one. They're all quite recent, but I haven't got to them yet. Obviously that's the point of the question. The first one is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I was never a cowboy romance girl until I read Elsie Silver, and now I am very much a cowboy romance girl, so I can't wait to read Wild Love. Even though it's not a cowboy romance, it's still in the same kind of world, the same kind of vibe as Chestnut Springs. So I'm very excited to read that. Next one is Funny Story by Emily Henry. I controversially didn't love Happy Place. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't love it the way I love book lovers. But every one of Emily Henry's books, like, they're similar but they're different. Do you know what I mean? They all have like different characters and different themes that different people relate to. A lot of people clicked with Happy Place, I just didn't, but maybe I'll click with Funny Story, so I am very excited to read it. And the last one, there's obviously more than this I'm excited for, but I didn't want to sit here all day and bore you. Love Unwritten by Lauren Asher. Lauren Asher's books previous to this new series have been a bit hit or miss. I like the Dreamland Billionaire series, not obsessed with it. personally don't get on with the Dirty Air series like at all. I really didn't like that one. I DNF'd 2 of the books and then just kind of gave up. But this new series, The Lakefront Billionaires, obsessed. What's the first one called? Love Redesigned, I think. Where is it? Yeah, Love Redesigned, I gave like 4.5. I love that book, so I'm so excited to read Love Unwritten. I just love the vibe. It's like a perfect mixture this time of billionaires, but like not like cocky, horrible billionaires, but like the men have still got something about them. They've still got like that cocky edge. But I found the men in the Dreamland Billionaire series to just be a bit much. Whereas in the Lakefront Billionaire so far, I feel like they've been the right amount of like cocky billionaire but not a prick, you know? So I'm very excited to read that one because I just feel like her books get better and better and better. The next one, most anticipated release for the second half of the year, so one that hasn't come out yet, and this has got to be Daydream by Hannah Grace. I am obsessed with Icebreaker and Wildfire as it is, but the girl on the front cover of Daydream is wearing a Taylor Swift cardigan. Taylor Swift cardigan. So if we're going to take ice skating, which I'm obsessed with, Hannah Grace's writing, which I'm obsessed with, Hannah Grace's characters, which I'm obsessed with, and Taylor Swift, hello. I'm so excited. I think it comes out in like August, so there's a little bit to wait, but not too long. I feel like it'll come around quick. The next one is Biggest Surprise. I decided to go like positive for this one, so biggest positive surprise, and that is Bride by Ali Hazelwood. Now, I'm not surprised that I would like an Ali Hazelwood book. I would read and probably rate 5 stars that woman's shopping list. I just love the way she writes. Is it going to win any literature awards? Perhaps not. But it's just so fun and easy and witty, and I just love it. What I'm surprised about is that I liked a paranormal book, because before this I am yet to read a paranormal book that I liked, and I've read not loads but like a fair few. Some of them were like fine, but I have never loved a paranormal book until I read Bride. I think it's the perfect mix of like paranormal, like supernatural paranormal with everyday life. I think it was the perfect mix of them. So if you're wanting to get into paranormal, or if you're like me and you've read some paranormal and it's just not for you but you still find it interesting, I think Bride is great because it's still got that classic Ali Hazelwood humour, but it's also got some werewolves and some vampires in it, and it was very fun. Easy to understand as well, like you do learn about the politics of their world and how well they do and don't get along, but like it makes sense, you know? It's not complicated, but there's depth to it, which I just absolutely loved. The next one, new favourite new author, debut or new to you. So I've gone for Rebecca Ross because I love Divine Rivals so much. Obsessed with Divine Rivals. And I've never read Rebecca Ross before. I think she has written some other books, hasn't she? I don't really know. I've never read them. But I will read like anything she releases, particularly in the fantasy genre. I think Divine Rivals was perfect. I'm obsessed. As someone that loves fantasy and historical fiction, Divine Rivals just did it for me. I was obsessed with it. The next one is Newest Fictional Crush, and I did struggle with this. There's been a lot of book boyfriends that, like, you know, they're fine, but there's none that I think about all the time. Like, for example, Kai from Powerless, I can see why people would be obsessed, and I do like him, but it's not like a fictional crush. So I had to go down a different route, and this isn't a personal fictional crush of me, because I've gone for Johnny Kavanagh, and he is like 17, 18, and you know, I'm 25, so I don't crush on 17 or 18 year olds. But what I mean is, like, I can see why Shannon's got a crush on him. Do you know what I mean? I read him in the book and I'm like, oh, I can see why she likes you. Like, he's so thoughtful, he's so sweet, he sticks up for us so much, and I just, like, I crush on the way he treats Shannon. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just love that he's a teenage boy and he's this big popular rugby lad, but he just treats his girlfriend so well, and he is not embarrassed about it, and I think that is so cute. So I went down that kind of route. Not a personal crush for me, but like, I love the way he treats Shannon, and I think it's so sweet. The next one, I'm not going to dwell on it, but I had no other answer. Book that made you cry, Redeeming 6. We've already spoke about it, so I won't bore you anymore, but yeah, that book made me bawl like a baby. Next one, a book that made me happy. I've got 2 for this one. There were a lot of books that like made me giggle, but these 2, like, when I read this question, stuck out and like still make me happy now when I think of them. Obviously, like, all the favourite books I've spoken about on this list do, but I wanted to mention 2 that I've not spoke about yet. Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This was so cute. This is the one that comes after When in Rome, and I did really like When in Rome, but I prefer Practice Makes Perfect. It did it for me. It made me kick my feet and giggle like a child. I loved that book. It's about, so it's the sister of the male main character from When in Rome. So her name's Annie, and everyone thinks she's this really like quiet, sweet, innocent girl. Everyone treats her a bit like a child, even though she's like a fully grown woman, and she's a bit sick of it. She's a bit over it, and she ends up with Will, who is like a bodyguard, big, tall, covered in tattoos, and the whole village is like, get away from her. Very much like But Daddy I Love Him by Taylor Swift vibes. Like the whole village. They actually do at one point make a petition. They make a petition to try and get them apart. They make like a whole plan to like keep them separate. Anyway, what I'm getting at is, it's just so sweet, like seeing Annie become who she actually is, and see her actually stand up for herself and be like, losers, shut up. And like not just take what everyone gives. I just loved seeing her grow. I love them together. I love Will. Again, he's very protective of her, which like makes sense because he is a bodyguard. He's not her bodyguard, but he is a bodyguard. And love that book. It just made me giggle. And then similarly, Checkmate by Ali Hazelwood. I love that book. I really, really love Checkmate. It was just so sweet. It's marketed as YA. I don't think it is. I think it's more new adult. Which is like nice. I kind of prefer new adult, but it definitely shouldn't be marketed as YA because I don't think it is. But I just love it. Like, I was worried I was going to be bored because it's about chess, and I don't play chess. I don't understand chess. I'm not smart enough for chess. So I was worried I'd either be bored or lost. But no, like, it makes sense, even though I know nothing, absolutely nothing about chess. It was so good. The characters so sweet. The relationship's so sweet. They were both like such strong characters, but when they're together, just like they kind of melt, and I love that. Again, made me giggle and kick my feet like a little girl. The next one, the most beautiful book you bought this year. It has to be the Crescent City trilogy. I will get up and show you this because I don't want to get them off the shelves, but I will just briefly stand up and show you. Look how stunning they are. Chef's kiss. What a stunning standard paperback. No, hardback, by the way. The fact that they're not special editions like kind of blows my mind. I think they're gorgeous. So yeah, I've not bought many special editions this year. I technically had this delivered this year, but I bought it last year, so it doesn't count, I don't think. They're from the Cough with Love one, which I am obsessed with. But in terms of what I actually bought this year, Crescent City trilogy, stunning. My voice is starting to go, but we've still got like 6 questions left. The next one, books you need to read the rest of the year. I need to finish the Throne of Glass series. I'm kicking my heels with it a bit. Kicking, sticking. I don't want to read it, guys. I just don't. I'm not loving it. I can see why people do, but I'm just not clicking with it. It's just not my favourite Sarah J Maas series. I've got 3 left. I've got the Tandem Read and then Kingdom of Ash. And I just need to get on with it and get it done. I have high hopes for Kingdom of Ash. I don't have higher hopes for the Tandem Read. But we're just going to keep going to get to Kingdom of Ash, and hopefully that will redeem the whole thing. I liked the earlier books. I feel like people usually say you have to get through the earlier books, but I actually really liked the first 2. It was after that that it started to just go downhill a little bit for me. And then also Briar U. I am obsessed with the Off-Campus series. It's genuinely one of my favourite books I have ever read, but I've never read Briar U, even though it's like a literal continuation, and I don't know why I haven't, so I really need to read Briar U this year. Every 5-star this year. This isn't going to take long. I don't think I am stingy with 5 stars. If I think a book is 5 stars, I will give it, but I've only got 5. So Culte by Mariana Zapata, just there, is a sports romance between Culte, who is like a famous football, soccer, I don't really know the translation to English, like the version of the sport, but it's that kind of thing. Like, they kick balls around the field. That. Anyway, he is one of them, very famous professional, retired now, and he ends up coaching Sal's team, who is our female main character, and she is also a player of this sport where they kick a ball around. And they don't get on. She was a very, very big fan of his, like idolised him, until she met him. And I'll leave it at that, because I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, such a good book. Again, that is another example of books can be long. That is like a tall and a thick book. Books can be long as long as they have a reason to be. And I think Mariana Zapata's books always work, even when they're really long. Except Gracie and the Grump, that one wasn't very good. The ones on this shelf work. Not a massive fan of some of the others, but these ones are great. Anyway, that wasn't the question. Into the Dark, we've already spoken about. That was a 5-star read. Bride, again, we've spoken about, and Boys of Tommen series. I didn't give all the books individually 5 stars, but it's a 5-star series. I hope some people know what I mean. Like, not every book in a series has to be an individual 5-star for the series to be a 5-star. So it's a 5-star series rather than every book being a 5-star. Next one, what books do you want to reread this year? There's only one more. I'm not a massive rereader. I tend to, like, if I'm really loving a book, I'll like tab or fold the corners or whatever, and I'll just go back and read quotes and stuff. I'm not someone, especially not while my physical TBR is so huge, I don't reread that much. But I do want to reread Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. I read it and gave it 3 stars years ago, but that was when I'd barely read any romance. And I feel like that's not one that you start with, is it? That's not really a beginner romance, it's quite taboo. But I feel like if I read it now, I would love it even more. Like, I really liked it then, but I feel like if I read it again, I would like it even more. So I do want to give that one another go. Books that you've been putting off, rest of the Throne of Glass series. Because as I said, it feels like every book in that series I read, I like it less and less. And the next 3 are really big. So I am nervous and I am putting them off, but I am going to commit to reading them before the end of the year, which does give me like 6 months, so that's not that big of a commitment, but still, I will read them before the end of the year. Next one, a book you enjoyed with mixed reviews. So some of these have low ratings on Goodreads. Some of them have very high ratings on Goodreads, but the people I watch on BookTube have given them mixed reviews. So it's a mixture of like general consensus mixed reviews and also just what I have seen from the people I watch. So Bride definitely got mixed reviews. Some people didn't like the whole kind of Omegaverse aspect. I don't know anything about the Omegaverse, but I didn't mind that aspect of the book. I thought it was fine, but I can see why people wouldn't. But I love that book. I think some people also thought it wasn't paranormal enough. But again, for me, that was like the point of why I liked it so much. The next one, Ruthless Vows, the second Divine Rivals book, had very mixed reviews because it was a lot more focused on the fantasy in the story rather than the romance, which I get. That definitely is the case. But I'm glad I waited a bit to read that duology, because it meant that I went into the second book already knowing that. So therefore I wasn't disappointed and I loved it. I gave it 4.25. Checkmate, some people said it was like quite boring. It doesn't have the highest ratings on Goodreads. We've already been over the fact that I think it's one of the sweetest books I've ever read. Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. I feel like no one talks about this anymore because it came out ages ago and it took me way too long to read it. But it's the 3rd book in the Knock 'Em Out trilogy, which is like a small town series following a group of friends. And the last book, which is, what's it called? I loved it so much I don't even know what it's called. Things We Left Behind. I get them mixed up because they're all similar. It's about a couple that is very much anticipated throughout the other 2 books. So I feel like we all kind of built up in our heads what this couple was going to be like. And again, this is a case of I'm actually glad I waited a long time after release to read it, because it meant that I already knew going in that it wasn't just about the romance and that there was a lot of other stuff going on. So I can see why people would be disappointed if they went in expecting this like epic love story. I would get why they'd be disappointed. So again, I'm very glad I waited to read that one. And House of Flame and Shadow, I gave that 4.5. A lot of people really didn't like it. This one has high ratings on Goodreads, but I feel like that's because you don't get to the 3rd book in a series if you don't like it at all. But I know a lot of people were expecting to give it like a 5 and then gave it like a 3 or a 4 or whatever. So it's not necessarily that people think it's bad, but a lot of people I know were disappointed by House of Flame and Shadow. And then last question, ending on a positive note, 5-star predictions for the rest of the year. Daydream, I've already spoken about all the reasons why I think I love it. I think that could definitely be a 5-star. I think I gave Icebreaker 5 and Wildfire 4.5, so it's definitely a contender. And then adding the Taylor Swift references, I think it could be a 5. And then Taming 7. I haven't read Taming 7 yet. I've read the first 4 books in Boys of Tommen, but not that one. And I know it's got mixed reviews, but again, because I've waited a bit, I'm kind of going in knowing the vibe, which I think will help because I just love Claire and Gibbsy so much. But yeah, I'm going to end the video here because my voice is going and I need to go and have a drink and like not talk for the next 3 hours. But thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!